What's good, YouTube? It's jumping on here real quick to just to vent, I guess. A so-called activist, so-called cop watcher here in Rochester, New York. What's good, Red? Just got to get something off my chest, my brother. So a so-called activist slash cop watcher slash First Amendment auditor here in Rochester, New York. And I'm not going to say his name because, this is exactly why I've spoken so much about me being a one-man show, me not affiliating with any so-called activists. There's so much hypocrisy in the activist community, and we'll save that for other projects I'm working on. I'm not gonna get too much into detail about that. But as with anything in life, you have people that are truly committed to something, are truly devoted, dedicated, passionate. I could go on and on with certain words to describe, good individuals who are passionate, who are real about this. You know what I mean? So, and then you have some fake ones. You have some who are hypocrites. You have some who are, and I'm sorry, I'm in the zone right now. I'll get to some comments in a minute, but just give me a little bit. If you want to comment or say what's up, just give me a few minutes to get this off real quick. I don't want to be rude and just blow anyone's comments off. But right now I'm in the zone, and you'll see where I'm going. Just ride with me for a minute. Like I said, like with anything, you have individuals who are just not real about it. You know what I mean? They just don't keep it 100. And it's just disgusting because those of you who know me and who have been riding with me, like my man Red, my brother on here who's been riding from, like I said, he's one of my day ones. People know what I've been through. People know what my family's been through. People know, what my dad went through with the Rochester, New York Police Department, one of the most corrupt, dirtiest police agencies in the country. A police department with a long history of corruption, of abusing innocent citizens, in some cases of executing innocent, unarmed citizens. So let me get to the point here. An activist who was affiliated with a First Amendment auditor who I just interviewed recently. And again, I'm trying not to name names because I'm at the point, I've been doing this so long that not only could I just pick hypocrisy and the fake ones out like that, but I'm also at a point, whether it comes to the trolls or whatever, that I just refuse to give anyone not 15 seconds of fame. I refuse to give them 1.5. Anyways, what's dominated the news here, mainstream news media, the last day and a half, if you count yesterday, is the fact that every year Rochester's Puerto Rican Festival is held here in Rochester, New York. And it's been going on for, it's the longest running festival, but something that's been happening for at least 10 years, maybe a little longer, is that some folks has nothing to do with the festival at all. The festival doesn't have any issues. There's been no major incidents at a festival. Anywhere that people congregate and there's alcohol, whatever, you're always going to have little squabbles and little bullshit, right? But there's really nothing considerable that's happened at the Puerto Rican Festival, especially in recent years. And but what's going on is that, like I said, at least for the last 10 years after the festival, people are still a little hyped And there's been incidents where they've ridden down Clinton Avenue, which is here in the northeast part of the city. It's the like the Latino, predominantly Puerto Rican. Rochester has at least about 35,000 Latino population, and the majority of the Latino population here is Puerto Rican. So there's a little bit of after party, kind of a little bit of after party celebrating, and they take it to the streets. You know what I mean? They get a little wild. You know what I mean? They get a little crazy. I mean, as far as, screeching tires and, just celebrating. You know what I mean? They're happy. You know what I mean? They're proud. Boricuas. Shout out to all my Boricuas out there. And I'll be honest, me myself, I've written several articles in the last, decade. Even at least one that was published in our newspaper right here, the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, or DNC for short, criticizing the Puerto Rican festival, but not criticizing the Boricua population, the Puerto Rican citizen here, criticizing the fact that over the years, being the longest running festival, I believe like 48, 49 years at this point, that it's been going on. Again, it's the longest cultural festival in the city of Rochester. I've criticized them for not being inclusive of welcoming, of other cultures. I'm Cuban, you know what I mean? I was born here, spent the first 9-10 years of my life in Miami. Shout out to the 305 MIA, Miami. But I was transplanted at an early, I was transplanted basically from Miami back to Rochester right before my 10th, 10th birthday. So, I'm not Puerto Rican, I'm Cuban. But I support my fellow Latinos no matter who they are. Mexican, Colombian, Nicaragua, Dominican, Puerto Rican. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And, I've been critical of them, of the festival, because they're not really welcoming. The festival board, the presidents, they've switched over the years. The festival committee here in Rochester, New York, they're not welcoming to other cultures. You know what I mean? We started a festival, Cubans started a festival in Miami years ago, and for years it was called Calle Ocho Festival. Now it's called Carnaval Miami, and Cubans started it. But we never put a title in there like the Cuban Festival, because we were inclusive and welcoming to all different cultures, different Latino cultures. Everybody has a seat at the table, so to speak. Everybody feels welcomed. Here, the Puerto Rican festival board, the presidents, the people behind the scenes. It's been pretty clear over the years. And all you have to do is Google Davy V Puerto Rican Festival. All my articles come up. I've written about it well over 10 years. But so I just wanted to put that out there so that you see that me, myself, I have a lot of differences of opinions and issues with the Puerto Rican festival here. So I wanted to put that out there because I'm honest about my having spoken out against, the fact that the Puerto Rican festival here is not really welcoming to other Latino cultures. But the Boricuas here in Rochester, I got family who's Puerto Rican, got friends who are Puerto Rican, supporters who watch this channel who are Puerto Rican throughout the country and in Puerto Rico. Shout out. Saludo a todo mi Boricua. And I'm going to defend my fellow Latinos to the fullest, because Rochester is a very, very interesting city. And back to this activist, so-called activist, you got individuals here who claim to be against police abuse, to be against police corruption, and to claim that they stand for something, but really they're and this is not just Rochester, across the whole country, they're fucking hypocrites. And this is the main reason why I stick to myself, why I'm a one-man show, why I really don't like to affiliate or associate myself with anyone, and every now and then, because I'm still a nice dude, despite what you guys and girls may see on the internet and think I'm just some jerk, that hates cops, which is not true at all, or think like, man, what's wrong with this guy, putting his camera, his phone or whatever in cops' faces, recording them. Some of you get me, some of you don't. Sadly, the ones that don't are asleep. You guys don't realize that, your, mine, our constitutional rights are being eroded every day more and more, especially with the way this country is going right now. So, I feel sorry for some of y'all. I'm just keeping it 100 with you, because some of you guys and girls, you know, that may not necessarily approve or like what I do, or you know, may have some, you know, really, you know, harbor some really negative feelings for me, for my family. I feel bad for y'all because you guys and girls really don't understand it. You really don't get it. And some of you do. And shout out to the ones that do. I love each and every one of you. And even the ones that don't, you're welcomed here. You know, maybe I can convert you. Maybe you'll slowly realize what I stand for and why I do what I do. So again, enough rambling. Let me get to the point. So an individual who is affiliated with a First Amendment auditor who I recently interviewed on this channel posted a very disturbing comment on one of his videos, one of the activists that I interviewed recently, one of his videos. And the comment basically, I'm not going to read it verbatim, it's a long comment, but it basically, and this is the type of stuff that folks here in individuals in Rochester, New York are just very shady. You know, they can't be trusted. Because on one hand, they act like they're down for the cause, like they are passionate about police accountability issues. But on the other hand, it's like they're the cheerleaders for the police. You know what I mean? They support the actions of the RPD, which, you know, I've tried to point out a few positive things about the RPD. I've tried to, you know, show that there's some officers that, even though I'm going to disagree with them, and obviously we're not going to agree on things, but we can be respectful to each other. Rochester, New York Police Officer Gil Contreras, Officer Mitchell for the Traffic Enforcement Unit, two gentlemen who have always treated me with respect, who have always been professional with me, whether or not we agree on things. But I'm going to be honest, it disturbs me when I see an individual say what this individual said. And basically his comment was condoning the actions of the Rochester, New York Police Department in wearing the riot gear and telling individuals yesterday after the festival that they had to leave the area. And I'm not talking about individuals like riding down the street or whatever. I'm talking about the Rochester, New York Police Department. I haven't posted the video. I took a little break. But the Rochester, New York Police Department basically was out in full force, as they are every year, dressed in full riot gear, with the high decibel pitch alarms on the pickup trucks to basically blow citizens' eardrums out. And they were ordering citizens into their home. I mean, people that were on the Clinton Avenue, on a hot summer, beautiful day in Rochester, New York, beautiful evening, they were being ordered into their homes. And so this individual gets on there. And mind you, this is an individual who has done several videos recently, several First Amendment audit videos, who claims to have an interest in cop watching and holding police accountable. And yet he goes on here and defends the RPD's actions. And then he goes on to say that the murder rate in Rochester, New York spikes. He used the word spikes. Every year around this time, equating it to the Puerto Rican festival, something that is absolutely not true. Something that is absolutely a lie. Something that he cannot and will not be able to back up with statistics. First of all, every city has murders. Every city. Look at Chicago. Rochester's murder rate has actually been down. And it's not even, I'm not going to get into the murder rate, the statistics, the numbers. It's not about that. Simply, it's not true that any equation can be made, any correlation can be made between the Puerto Rican festival and Rochester's murder rate. It is simply not true. Now, here's my issue with this. We're all entitled to our opinion, right? I'm an advocate for First Amendment. I'm exercising my First Amendment freedom of speech right now. But let me explain to you why this particular comment disturbs me. Because it comes from an individual who, again, claims to be a First Amendment auditor. claims to stand against injustices, claims to denounce abuse of power and corruption by police officers. It wouldn't have bothered me as much if it was just somebody, some Joe Blow off the street or whatever, you know, that hasn't exhibited and demonstrated an interest in police accountability issues, right? But for an individual who has actually gone out on Rochester, New York streets, right? And who has recorded cops and who has, I see you guys going crazy with the comments, and I told y'all to hold off a little bit so I could read them, so I could have a time to interact, but so be it. I mean, I haven't even been able to read one, and I asked earlier on, just hold off with the comments for a little bit. I love live, but sometimes I don't like the fact that, let me get a point across before you guys blow up the screen with comments. I love each and every one of you. Please don't take it the wrong way. If you want someone to lie to y'all, someone to be just, just have just be fake. There's other channels you can watch. I'm just keeping it 100 with y'all. Just hold off a minute on the comments. That's all I'm asking. I love interacting and reading comments. I see the screen blowing up. Ironically, it's blowing up more than other times. And I asked earlier, I'm not focusing on the comments right now. So, again, I'm going to wrap it up anyways. I've went on longer than I even wanted to initially. But my thing is that it just disgusts me, and it points to a bigger issue in the activist community. And that is why I roll alone. That is why I'm a one-man show. That is why I don't affiliate myself with any groups. I've learned a lot from groups like Cop Block and groups that I at one point was affiliated with, and I learned certain very disturbing things about the individuals behind the scenes who are hypocrites in all these so-called groups. And that is why, so in a way, I'm not glad that it happened, because I hate reading an ignorant comment from someone. He's a Caucasian. I'm just putting it out there so that I could put it in perspective. And it doesn't really matter what he is, but I'm pointing it out because there's a lot of undercover individuals here, especially in Rochester, New York, right here, and throughout the country. But I'm speaking about my hometown, that are just very suspect. You know what I mean? And I've spoken more and more about them. I'm going to be speaking a lot more about them, soon to come. And it's just very, very disturbing. And again, I have to just remind myself not to be so trusting, of certain folks. But again, deep down, despite what you see on the internet, I'm a good person. I'm a family man. I'm somebody who will stop and help anyone. I help an animal in need. I'm a huge animal lover. I'm just a good person, deep down. And sometimes, although I've learned so much over the years, sometimes I just have to remind myself that there's a reason why a long time ago I realized not to fuck with anybody. To be solo, to be about my stuff, but just me, not to affiliate with anyone, because what I've noticed is that although police corruption and police brutality, police abuse is a very real issue, and I've known that. And my father was a pioneer here in the Rochester, New York area for years when it came to, police accountability. I've also noticed that these so-called individuals who claim to stand up to police abuse and who claim to, have a passion and an interest to hold police accountable are fucking hypocrites. They're hypocrites. And it's disgusting. As somebody who has been doing this over 20 years and as a second generation activist, my dad was doing this in the 80s, long before this YouTube shit, long before the internet is what it is today, long before smartphones. It just disgusts me. It disgusts me to see that there's individuals who are suspect, who on one hand claim to stand for something, and on the other will defend the same individuals that they claim to hold accountable, and then will justify the same individuals, in this case, the Rochester, New York Police Department, will defend the Rochester, New York Police Department ordering innocent citizens of La Avenida, North Clinton Avenue, into their homes like it's Nazi Germany. It's disgusting for an individual who has hit these city streets and claimed to stand against police abuse and claims to want to hold police accountable, to turn around and then smear and attack Rochester, New York's Puerto Rican community and Puerto Rican culture by stating something that is simply not true, which shows another issue there. See, it all goes back to this, and I'll leave you guys and girls with this, and I've said it before. Some of you may remember. My father, Mario Vara, used to say, if you listen and truly watch and see what people are saying and how they carry themselves, people telling themselves constantly. The question is not, are they going to tell on themselves and tell who they are, who they really are? The question is, are you listening and are you watching for it? Because somebody could reveal to you, talking to you. This could happen in your own lives, at work, your own boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your family member. Somebody could reveal themselves right to you, right in your face. Your boyfriend could be cheating on you. Your girlfriend could be cheating on you. Your husband could be cheating on you. Your wife could be cheating on you. And it's right there in plain sight for all to see. But if you're not the type of person that can capture it and truly listen and see it, you're not going to see it. You're not going to hear it. So I learned that a long time ago. And I've gotten better at it. Again, I just got to remember not to be so trusting. But it just reminded me, seeing that comment and seeing an individual obviously use a platform like YouTube to, spread some vitriol and some, what's hatred in essence against Rochester, New York's Puerto Rican community by equating some festival goers that extend a little bit of an after party. I'm not condoning anyone getting hurt, but to equate, some flags and some people waving some flags out of cars and, some partying, to equate that and to say that that is somehow connected to Rochester, New York's murder rate spiking up, which is not true at all, not true. And like I said, he can't back it up and he will not back it up because he can't back it up because it's simply not true. He can't back it up with any data. But to equate that and to try to connect Rochester's Puerto Rican community with a, some fictitious spike in the murder history, in the murder rate, of Rochester, New York, which is simply not true, is disgusting. And it's even more disgusting for it to come from someone who claims to be a police accountability activist. Another reminder why I don't affiliate and associate with anyone. And I need to remember that. I need to remember that more and more. Peace.